Yeah. Oh, not a fan of that.
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
And it should have been right after that first opening scene where he takes out where they get the what the hell's it called?
Yep.
Adamantium back.
If you haven't seen Captain America Brave New World and don't want spoilers, you should tune away, because we're going to be talking spoilers in this episode of Eat Sleep Nerd, a show where you can check out, go AFK, and relax with us as we discuss all things nerd. We're going to be doing a little spoiler cast here, because we have just gotten back from watching Captain America The Brave New World. I guess not The Brave New World, just Brave New World, the new MCU film that just hit theaters this week. We just did a spoiler-free review that you can find on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@EatSleepNerd. So if you want to see what we thought about that without getting spoiled, go check out that video. It'll be linked up there as well as in the comments. But if you want to talk about some story stuff, that's what we're doing right here, right now.
That's right.
I've joined you guys in chairs.
Thank you for lowering yourself to our level.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you're not the guy at the desk anymore.
Yeah.
I'm not, but I still have the power. I'm controlling lights and stuff. Anyway, Captain America.
America.
So going into this, we thought it was going to be the next
Super
big thing.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was a little underwhelming.
So what did we give it?
We gave
as
it
a team.
Good. Look at you. 3.45 out of 5.
Yeah.
So you gave it like a 2.75,
2.85. Yeah.
You were a little bit more
4.
gracious. 4. I was at a 3.5. So we're all kind of right there.
And we put it at the B level on our tier maker.
Yes.
Right. So
you.
Hey, I just want to get that stuff out of the
on
way.
the show. Yeah.
And then now we can get into the meaty stuff.
Let's get into the meaty
meat.
stuff. So
And potatoes.
we talked about,
Baby
just
rice.
overall impressions of the film. So acting and the action and the score and stuff like that. But let's talk story stuff.
Yes.
There was a lot of story.
A lot of story.
There was too much story.
There was too much story.
Yeah.
So, the biggest spoiler right off the bat is that this was a spiritual successor in many ways to the 2008 film, The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
So, when that film came out, not a proper movie in the MCU, but it's kind of been shoehorned in over the years.
It's been touched on. It's like not officially recognized. I think this movie officially recognized movie as...
In many ways, it has been. So, like
Yeah.
Ross, the character from that movie.
Yeah,
has
but I
appeared.
mean, I feel like this was like
The cementing.
the cementing it.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
And in the spoiler free, you said that this movie was trying to be a sequel or follow up to 2 different movies.
Mhm.
And I think you're right. The other one being, of course, Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Or any of the Captain America
Yeah.
movies, honestly.
It was definitely feel it was trying to emulate the Winter Soldiers, get that atmosphere back.
Yeah.
It was having
But
an
it's
identity
definitely-
crisis.
It was
A bit of
definitely
one.
it was definitely touching a lot on Civil War as well. Like it brought the raft
Yeah.
back,
Mhm.
it brought all that stuff back.
It did,
So
yeah.
it was definitely pulling from a lot. Like it touched on Endgame ramifications a lot. It touched on what happened in Falcon and the Winter Soldier
Mhm.
a lot.
Talked about the Soviet Accords.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, Civil War. So it was
and
talking about-
finally the Celestial coming out of the ocean. The
Right.
invasion.
Finally.
Finally.
from the Eternals.
The Eternals, which I have eternally forgotten because it was such a forgettable movie.
I
So
still
you
remember
asked
it.
me. So when that finally came up in this movie, you were like, "So when did that movie come out?" And I think you called it like, you didn't even call it the Eternals. You called it like the Celestial movie or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And I was like, okay, let me look this up real quick. I could not think of what the name of that movie was. So that's how forgettable that movie
So
was.
he was eternally searching on his phone.
Yes.
Um,
So we'll get to that
Yeah.
Celestial thing.
I liked it.
yeah. What you did like the?
Yeah, I did like
Oh,
it.
okay, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
It's okay. All right.
You can have your opinion.
It wasn't. I mean, it was just bland to me. Anyway, okay. This movie.
Yeah, this movie.
Okay. All right. So let's first talk about Sam Wilson.
Okay.
Anthony Mackie as Captain
Probably
America.
a good place to
Yeah.
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a whole list. I'm not sure if we'll get
Okay.
to all of it, but I do have a whole list that we could pull from.
Okay.
But yeah, and I think Anthony Mackie, the bigger part of this film is that he's taking on the role of Captain America officially.
Yeah.
Uh,
I liked his suit a lot more than
Yeah.
than in the Captain America and the Winter.
I know. I saw an interview and someone brought up that, he doesn't have his cowl anymore.
Mhm.
And he was like, I'm not going to do this movie if I have to wear that again.
I saw
I'm
the same
like,
thing.
that's amazing. Because to me, yeah, it had like the Gambit effect. It was like, what is that?
Yeah.
Like, why are you wearing that?
it was very much a throwback to the comic.
Yeah.
But
It looked
didn't work.
ridiculous in live
yeah.
action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I found out like how difficult it was to work around because a lot of the sides folded up.
Very Batman-y. Yeah.
And so they had to CG it being flat
Oh.
a lot of the time. So we're like, yeah, I think to get rid of that.
Well, they replaced it with an Ant-Man style mask, which I don't know.
Well, but that was for the high altitude flying.
Yeah, sure.
You know, like I got it. Like,
Yeah, it made
made
sense.
to me. Like it was
Yeah,
fine.
sure.
Especially if he's breaking the sound barrier.
Yeah,
Right?
whatever.
Yeah. You didn't like
It just looked
okay.
very Ant-Man-y.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I like the darker
Alright.
colors on it. It looked like an evolution of the Captain America suit. It worked. I liked it.
Right, yeah.
But that doesn't make the hero, which he did a great job.
I think
Yeah.
Anthony Mackie, he was as good as he could be.
Okay.
To not be a superhero, to
Mhm.
just be a regular hero, I think he was fantastic as Captain America.
Yeah.
But I think honestly he was kind of overshadowed by Harrison Ford in his own movie. I think Harrison Ford stole all of the scenes he was in.
And that goes along with what this movie was trying to be, like a successor to the old movies, in which it turned into a Hulk movie with Captain America,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of sad. Because I mean, yeah, we want the appearance of Red Hulk, or at least somebody does. I don't know. But yeah, it kind of did take over the whole Captain America thing, because it's like this is his first solo movie to being a Captain America, and here we are with Red Hulk.
Like he was definitely still the center of the movie. Like he was definitely
Right.
still the centerpiece. But
I think he went toe to toe with Harrison Ford wonderfully.
oh yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, acting wise,
acting wise, yeah,
very much
from
so.
an acting perspective, like I would like those scenes where they were like confrontational and trying to get their own points across. They
Yeah.
were doing really well. I was impressed,
I guess I just kind of expected Harrison Ford to phone it in.
and he did not.
He didn't. He
Oh
really
yeah,
didn't.
Yeah.
no,
I was sitting here listening to Giancarlo Esposito and Harrison Ford say these comic words, like they're saying adamantium and saying all these other words. I'm like, these actors are saying nerd words and they're doing it.
right.
You know, it wasn't like they're struggling to say it. No,
Yeah.
they said it.
It made
They-
it sound
they
real.
They made it sound real. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, Harrison Ford reminded me of just how good of an actor he is.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. So
Speaking of
yeah.
which, they're talking about Ross's fictional heart problem,
Mhm.
but every time Harrison would do something like scream or something like that, I'm like, whoa, bro, calm down.
Yeah.
You're old.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
whoa, watch out.
Well, like I think there was when he was on the bike earlier, his face was really red, and I don't know if they intended to do this, but
I noticed that.
I
Yeah.
didn't know if it was because he was just
Or-
exerting himself
or if it
or
was foreshadowing.
what is foreshadowing.
That's definitely something I thought throughout the whole movie, because
Yeah.
as you went along, his face was getting redder.
Yeah,
and
you
redder
get
and
redder
redder.
and red. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I initially thought it was just exertion, but then I went back. I was able to think about it during the movie. Like, oh, I wonder if that was the Red Hulk coming out.
Mhm.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well, since we're on
Yeah.
the character
Yeah.
train, let's keep talking about other characters. So, as we were saying, big spiritual successor to the Incredible Hulk film from 17 years ago. So this is the first time we're seeing a lot of this stuff finally pay off, because that movie never got a proper sequel.
Sure,
'cause the
sure.
MCU happened. So obviously General Ross was in that movie. That's where we first saw him as this character. Unfortunately, that actor that played him, what was his name?
William Hurt.
William Hurt passed away. Harrison Ford replaced him. But still the same character. So we've seen that character pop up a few times, like in Civil War and stuff like that.
Mhm.
We did get Tim Blake Nelson back as the big bad guy in this film that we didn't really see until the second half of the film. Tim Blake Nelson was in The Incredible Hulk, but the last we saw him, he was going through some kind of change that really cut to black. So we didn't really see what happened to him.
Clearly, was supposed to be a sequel, but
Mhm.
which never happened.
Never panned out.
Yeah.
We got, what was her name?
Liv Tyler?
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
Came back at the very end of the movie playing the original character she played,
Betty Ross.
Betty Ross. So a lot of lot of characters coming back from that movie for the first time in 17 years.
Yeah.
Um,
We got Bucky Barnes.
Bucky Barnes,
Bucky
which
Barnes showed up.
it made sense. I mean, I was not
Yeah.
surprised
I
whatsoever.
was so happy.
Like,
I was surprised.
I mean, also, I didn't
Yeah.
know he was going to be in there.
Right.
But it made sense.
Yeah, it wasn't like, why is this happening? It was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
And apparently he's running for Congress.
Which,
Yeah, that threw me for
Yeah,
a
'cause
second.
how does-
especially with the Thunderbolts coming out.
Yeah.
That doesn't
Yeah.
track.
because the Thunderbolts is supposed to be a team of bad, this has a bad guy
Or at
running
least
for,
misfits or
Yeah.
something.
Well,
Yeah.
then again, having that trailer where he's tracking them down,
Right.
so he's not immediately part of the team. I would
maybe
assume.
he's- Okay. That make me,
So-
we'll have to see.
So yeah, we'll have to see.
But yeah, that was an interesting
Yeah.
little twist.
Yeah,
Because they made this,
I'm voting for the White Wolf.
it's like they made the speechwriter joke. Like he said that
Yeah.
all of that like nice stuff, and Anthony Mackie was just like, "Did your speechwriters help you with that?" And we all laughed.
Yeah.
because we thought it was just like a little funny thing.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I got to go to my
The
campaign
theater
events."
laugh. It
Yeah, like
so
Yeah.
there weren't a lot of laughs in this movie, actually.
Yeah.
Which is unique for a Marvel movie.
sure.
And it was a rather quiet theater. And so when there were laughs, it was genuine.
Mhm.
Like
Yes.
it was not forced. Like there were times when they were trying to be really funny, and
Mhm.
it was a miss. But there were some times where it was like just genuine, real life situation funny, and that's where it was really appreciated in this movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
yeah. Speaking of Bucky, like when he appeared on the screen, I noticed his American flag pin.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What's that for?"
Yeah.
Like what's going on with that?
Yeah,
And then they talked about him being in Congress. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
interesting." So I'm really wondering like where that's going.
Oh, that's the flag, the politician flag. That's what
Yeah.
it is. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to say I love the fact that Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson, he walks the line of being Sam Wilson as Captain America really well. Like what it means to shoulder Captain America in this real environment that we have,
Mhm.
and what it means to be a black captain.
Mhm.
And I think that he walks that line well. It's like when it comes up, it's touched on. It's not hammered home. It's not like pow, this is a thing that we're going to talk about in this movie.
Right.
It's like walked very, very finely. And they did that really well in Winter Soldier, and Falcon and Winter Soldier too.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think they do a really good job with that with this. They treat everything with care. And I love that.
Mhm.
I don't know.
And what you notice, like from the trailer to the movie, when Ross says, "You're not Steve Rogers,"
It was a different scene entirely.
different scene, and it wasn't in the movie.
That's
I guess his response wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, his response wasn't. Yeah.
So it was
part
just like,
was, yeah.
okay, that's I guess leading you into seeing like what Sam was going to be like.
Like, is not
Yeah,
Steve Rogers,
he's not Steve Rogers.
which is fine. He does a great job. he's as far as I'm concerned, he's Captain America. He does
Yeah,
it. Like I'm
definitely.
fine with it. Like Steve Rogers was great, and Sam Wilson's great. Captain America is an idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So I'm fine. I could watch more of Anthony Mackie's Captain America. He's
And post credits said Captain America will return, so we'll
Yeah.
see him some more.
hmm
In what capacity, I'm not sure. I think the last big character we haven't really talked about is Giancarlo's. I don't even know what his character. I guess Sidewinder.
The Sidewinder. Yeah.
Sidewinder. Yeah,
So kind of felt like a waste of Giancarlo.
Yeah.
Is this
yeah,
what you're talking about in the spoiler free?
exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's like he seemed to be a threat. Like he wasn't really connected to, what do you call him, the thinker or
The leader?
The leader. But sort of was, and he was like the head of the serpents and things like that. And it was like they could have really touched on that and like what that group is to make him such a threat. But then, in the end, he really just kind of gives himself up.
I was thinking about, as you were saying that just now, I was thinking that would have been a better villain story than the leader.
Mhm.
Like have
Yeah.
Giancarlo just be in like,
Right.
But I wonder if they thought it would have been too much like the faction that they were fighting in the series Falcon and Winter Soldier. what was
The
it called?
hand?
The hand or whatever it was called. So I could see them thinking that.
Right.
Like, oh, that's going to be too much like the series. And I think they hamstrung themselves by thinking that, if that was the case, because that would have been a good way to go.
Right. Because
Yeah.
like a ground level villain would probably be more threatening to Sam in a sense than the leader would be. Because it ended up being like not the leader wasn't Sam's problem. He was Ross's problem.
Yeah, right.
And then he had to fix it.
So Giancarlo could have been both their problems and still have the Hulk bust out.
Exactly.
You still could have had the same result.
Yeah.
And that would have been the non-human fight with Sam Wilson.
Yeah.
And you could still have that. So yeah.
So which kind of turned into like the end where he says, when I get out of jail. So it's like, he's going to get out of jail. He's going to be a problem later. But like, that didn't really show me if he's going to be a problem.
So I just wanted to confirm that everything I was thinking was true is true. So it was the leader. So the leader, Samuel Stearns, is a supervillain appearing in the Marvel comics. He typically appears as an arch enemy of the Hulk. He mainly appeared in Hulk-related comic books over the years. He was exposed to gamma radiation, which we kind of saw in the Incredible Hulk film. It mutated him into a green-skinned, super intelligent entity who named himself.
He was green.
The leader. He did have a big brain too. And then Sidewinder.
Gross looking.
Sidewinder is the founder and leader of the Serpent Society in the comics.
Cobra!
Which this kind of felt like a waste of the Serpent Society because it's supposed to be a big fictional team of villains.
Yeah.
And they kept saying the serpents in this movie. They never called them the Serpent Society.
Right.
But the Serpent Society is an organization of snake-themed supervillains appearing in Marvel Comics. So,
yeah,
kind of feels like they just wasted what could have been a really cool villain team.
Well, Marvel is notorious for doing this because didn't they do that with Mandarin and the Ten Rings?
Yeah.
They wasted that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that feels like
It was that kind of came back in Shang-Chi, but
sort of.
Not really.
Yeah.
And wasn't this movie, back when it was first announced, supposed to be Captain America and the Serpent Society? Wasn't that the working title?
I don't remember that.
I don't recall that.
I might be making that up. I feel like that was at least a working title, if not the original film name, back when this was announced like 5 years ago. But I don't know. Anyway.
Don't know either.
Nah.
I don't recall. I do know it was initially New World Order, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a couple other things. Did not have the traditional Marvel intro.
It didn't.
Didn't.
Oh.
The first film in the entire universe that did not have the.
Not a fan of that. That's probably why it felt a little off in the beginning.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, not a fan of that. No.
No, you had to ask yourselves why.
Yeah. Why? Did they say why?
No.
Oh.
People are just pointing that out.
Interesting.
I was like, surely I saw that this morning. I was like, there's no way that's true. Sure enough, was not there. Yeah. Why would they do that?
Why would they do that?
And it should have been right after that first opening scene where he takes out where they get the what the hell's it called?
Yep.
Adamantium back. That was Wolverine, for any of you wondering.
Yeah. So I'm not sure why that's the case. Maybe we'll find out at some point. But so you brought up adamantium.
Yes.
So we finally got adamantium in the MCU.
Right.
So if you're not familiar, that is many uses in the comic books, but most famously, it's what Wolverine's claws and stuff are made out of. It's adamantium. So strongest metal in the universe, essentially.
And when they said in this movie, even stronger than vibranium.
Yeah.
Stronger than vibranium.
Right.
So finally got that kind of leading us
right. So,
even closer into mutants.
So we got mutants mentioned in Miss Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got adamantium here. Some of the X-Men were shown in the end credits of the Marvels. You had Professor X in
Doctor Strange.
So they're trying to get him in there.
Wolverine.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's right. So they're trying to get him in here.
Yeah.
Just interested to see how that's going to go. But anyway,
adamantium, but it's from the Celestial Island, which is what they're
Yes.
calling it,
Right.
which we have not seen since the Eternals,
Right.
all the way back in 2021, which feels like it was so much longer
It
ago.
does.
Yeah.
Like it feels like it was 10 years ago.
So one of the big plot points in this movie is that General Ross, or President Ross now, is trying to come up with this accord where the Celestial Island is shared
Mhm.
by the world, not claimed by any one nation. And honestly, it's just from a real world perspective, the fact that it took this long to hash that out was unbelievable. Because in our world, I think people or nations would have tried to lay claim with that within hours or days.
Yeah.
And we would have
So-
had conflict and discussions and negotiations and diplomacy within the first month and figuring that out. So not that it took years.
I mean, with something to that scale,
Yeah.
no pun intended,
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
it
yeah.
did really take a long time to discuss or come to some kind of agreement.
Well, he did say that they had built like research stations and stuff
Yeah.
around it. So like
Right.
they had been discussing it for a while.
Right. It should have probably some kind of mutual agreement between countries, but
Yeah.
to what to do with it probably took longer.
yeah.
So,
Anyway, just a thought. For me, again, one of the things that brought me at it.
but was this a worthy reappearance of the Celestial Island for you? Was it worth the 4-year wait?
No, we didn't see boots on the ground on it. No, not really. I mean, you flew around it like it was an obstacle,
Yeah.
like there were some towers or something, but you didn't get on it. We didn't get to investigate it. It was like a prop more than a location.
Hmm.
So no. What about you?
I thought it was fine.
Okay.
I don't know why people made such a big deal about never hearing about the Celestial Island since the Eternals. I'm just like, there are so many other things they have just never touched on again. It's fine.
Well,
Like-
that's the thing about it, because it's way more significant because of the threat that it could have caused.
Not only
Like, at
that,
least bring that up.
right?
Yeah.
But not only that, but it's like you now have this giant landmass in the middle of the Indian Ocean. I mean, it's not like, oh, here's a plot point that the rest of the world didn't know about anyway. You know,
I guess I'm just of the mind like there's
Yeah.
so much that happens that we don't see.
materialize.
Well, no, like
Yeah.
there's so much happening in between each movie that we
Yeah.
just never see. It's like so it's just because we didn't see it in the movie doesn't mean it's not like happening in the universe.
But
I'll-
it didn't happen in the universe for 4 years.
No, like we don't see them spending all this time at the Avengers compound, like training as a team and stuff. We just are expected that it's happening.
Sure.
So we never see it on film, but like we know it's happening. So the same thing could be the case with this island is that, yeah, they never talk about it in the movies, but like it still could be happening when we're
Also,
not around.
Wouldn't you think something like that poking out of the ocean would probably throw off the Earth's rotational spin and stuff like that?
I guess we'll, I don't know.
Because it's coming from the core.
I could see it affecting weather. No.
Like, for real. Like,
yeah, like because it would
just because it's frozen and it's a big iceberg now doesn't mean
I guess I'm just, I guess I'm just of the mind that 4 years is not that long to wait for the payoff. Like it's not that big of a deal.
No, that's fine, but just find a way to explain it.
Sure.
And they didn't do that.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. Like, make everything make sense in the universe.
Hmm.
Logically, it didn't
I
make
feel,
sense
I
to
feel
me.
like,
or
he-
like
I
yeah,
feel
in
like he
Civil War
explained
when they were flying over. Wait, was that before or after? That's before. At some point, someone is flying over in the ocean. Be like, that's weird. That'd have been cool.
Yeah.
it. Aside from an Easter egg in She-Hulk,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was on her like an internet.
like a
Yeah.
newspaper or
If
something.
you're
Yeah.
looking like and not watching the movie, the show, or whatever, because I guess a lot of people wouldn't be because it wasn't well received. But anyway, so I liked it, but it wasn't well received. What's Darth doing over here? Trying to choke you?
I'm gonna say that was Christian.
Oh,
um.
you set him up.
He definitely got up there by himself.
All right. So I think another big plot point was, which really didn't get a payoff, but rebuilding the Avengers. So President Ross prompted prompted, what's his name?
Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson, thank you.
Wow.
To rebuild the Avengers, which, granted, they have not really discussed since Endgame. There's been a lot of movies and television shows since then, but no one's really said, like, let's rebuild the Avengers. So they have essentially not been a team since Endgame.
Right.
So this is really the first time they've said, let's get the team going again.
Because that's the thing that Sam brought up to him. It was like the Accords ripped us apart.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't say it in the contract, but like the idea of it disbanded the entire team.
Yeah.
So it's like, what are we going to do about, are we just going to take that back or?
Yeah.
Well, I think that was the whole point with Ross, is that the whole movie, his arc, was that he was trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
And you, honestly, I believed it. Like, he sold it. Like, Harrison Ford sold it.
Yeah.
And you could tell that he was conflicted and his old self was coming through every now and then, which I think is how we are as humans. So it wasn't written badly. It was written well.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah. So you could see that that there's a potential for him to truly have wanted the Avengers back, like
Right.
in a way that was best, not the way that he wanted, but the way that was best. But of course, now that he's incarcerated, that's an entirely different story there.
But then you can think about
Damn.
what I just thought about.
Okay.
So, what's his name?
Red Rob. I don't know what.
Context clues. Give us something. Give us
The brain?
something.
Big
the
head.
leader?
The leader.
Okay.
Big head.
Whipped cream on
Goodness.
top. I don't know.
So the leader was in charge of his thinking,
Yes.
pretty much.
Yes.
Like he gave him statistics
Yes.
on what could or may happen, blah, blah, blah. So would him bringing back the Avengers be a plot point for the leader to take them down?
Good point. So, like, that was a recommendation to Ross,
Right.
and that Ross said, "Hey, we should do this."
See, I missed that.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Was that a thing?
Well, I don't think he said it
Yeah.
directly, but
You
he
could
had
infer
been
it.
giving him
Oh.
everything that he ever thought about all of his decisions because he had the mind to.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That could.
that's a good point.
That could.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Because he obviously had been thinking about it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Quote unquote.
You heard it here first, folks.
Christian.
Christian.
I'm the leader now.
That's going to be a
Look
good
at me.
short. Thank you.
yeah.
That's a good point. So
I love that. Okay, I know we already talked about Liv Tyler coming back, but I love that they got Liv Tyler to come back.
Yeah.
17 years later, she has
yeah.
not aged.
Right? She's
Yeah, she's exactly
she's an
the
elf.
same.
She is an elf. And for those of you who didn't catch that, she was in Lord of the Rings. But if you're watching this,
Yeah.
Oh.
What kind of
You
nerd?
didn't- he did-
I didn't-
What kind of nerds are you?
I
I didn't
never
get
mind.
And it makes sense now.
Okay.
Just went.
that. Wow.
Apparently that was for Corey's benefit. But she talked to her dad, Ross, on the phone, and I'm like, oh, that sounds like Liv Tyler. That really sounds like her. And sure enough, they brought her back.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really cool. Love seeing Bucky Barnes. Let's see what else.
The only thing I have left to really talk about is the post-credits scene. So, I've got anything else before that?
Where he's on the raft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They brought the raft back.
They brought the raft. Yeah. They brought the raft back. No, I got nothing else.
Red Hulk. Saw Red Hulk.
Yeah, Red Hulk.
Harrison
Yeah.
Ford is big angry Hulk.
That was basically just eye candy for a battle scene of.
That battle scene was so underwhelming.
It
to
really
end the
was.
movie.
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, he brought back the sonic boom from the beginning.
Oh,
Right.
When he realized that his punches were powerful enough to power up the vibranium,
Oh, okay.
and so he jabs him and
Yeah, okay, I saw that.
You're right.
But I didn't think that was a sonic boom.
I mean, yeah, it was part of the
Okay.
vibranium.
Yeah.
Expulsion.
Speaking of wit, how many times did his wings power up and he never used the power?
Yeah, a lot.
That pissed. Like, I was going, use it, use it, and they only used it one time. But I'm like, we've seen how it works with Black Panther. We know what the color means.
Yeah.
It's powered up. You're supposed to discharge the. No? Okay, we're not doing that. All right.
Or it was just like proof of that he could be Captain America.
I think that's what they were really trying to do.
The
is
power.
Trying to make it to where
Until
he
he
can fight
had to
without-
use it.
Yeah. But also that kind of really made the end fight scene with Red Hulk underwhelming. Because it wasn't like I defeated you with my hands. It was like, I'm going to talk you down.
Yeah. Sun's getting low.
Yeah.
Might as
It
well
was
done
very
that.
much that. But like, that's the lamest way to end a battle scene. Like,
Yeah.
So I'm torn. Like, it was really anticlimactic. You're
Mhm.
right. But at the same time, it's Sam's way of dealing with things. It
is
like,
true. He
yeah.
does have the history
that is
of being-
Exactly.
consistent with his way of
Character.
dealing with things.
I'll
I
give you
think
that.
it was poor. That particular aspect was poorly executed. Because it was too reminiscent of, hey, sun's getting low. Because Hulks don't reason. That was the thing. Like,
That was the
my-
thing. This was a really calm
it was
Hulk.
it was a calm reasoning moment, and I'm like, that doesn't track with what we know about the Hulk creature.
I would have rather him be in the wind than him been talked down.
Mm.
Like he just, after that whole thing, Sam wakes up and was like, I hope he's asleep. And then he just nowhere to be found.
Right.
That honestly,
That would have tracked more.
yeah.
Yeah.
But then we would never see Betty.
Or like,
I mean, true.
Yeah.
maybe
Or it could have.
he's in the process of talking him down, and it looks like he's starting to be receptive, but then he starts getting angry again because like maybe the army's coming in, like start shooting him.
Yeah.
So like it has the emotional connection of Sam using his backstory to like calm the Hulk down, but then it builds back up by pissing him off because all these helicopters are shooting him.
Right.
But like they take him down like T-Rex style, like put a big cage over him or something. I feel like that could have
Yeah.
been better.
Yeah.
Because then you get both worlds.
Yeah. And so it was really, for the way that they built it up, it was okay. It just kind of trickled out. So what was the end credit scene again? You trying to
So
remember?
the end credit scene, they were back on the raft, which
Right.
the raft is what we saw in Civil War.
Mhm.
So
where they
President,
keep all the superheroes.
yeah, so that's where they ended up putting President Ross once he came back down from being Red Hulk. But in the end credit scene, we see Sam Wilson on the raft again, talking to the leader who was in that jail.
Thank you. Okay.
And he said some really cryptic stuff, and he hinted at your world's not safe from the others, essentially.
Multiverse.
Probably multiverse.
Yeah, because he talked about the fact there was different worlds or like he was saying that like you don't think that there's different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like that is the vaguest thing.
It's very vague.
It's like, can we say something that can mean anything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
That way we're not
tied down
Right.
to something that's never going to pay off.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So probably definitely a Secret Wars thing.
Definitely.
Maybe it could have been hinting at Fantastic Four.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see a follow up in that in
Yeah.
Fantastic Four.
The follow up I really want to have is the incursion that Doctor Strange had at the end of Multiverse Madness.
Right, with Charlize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
she's just waiting up in the wings, just
Right.
like
I forgot she was. Yeah.
that phone
Yeah.
call. Waiting for that phone call.
So I was told I would be in Marvel.
It's been like 2
How
years.
how
now.
many actors, like 30 years from now, were like, they
Never got my
told
call.
me about I was going to be in the movie,
I signed a 10.
but they never did the movie. But
I
it
signed
was
I signed a
Yeah.
10 film contract.
yeah,
and didn't
but
do
it
a
just
single
never,
one.
just never materialized.
Speaking of another one is America Chavez.
Yeah.
She had one movie.
And probably one of the most powerful beings in the multiverse.
She'll probably have a cameo in Secret Wars. Like,
Yeah. But it's super sad because it's like she could have been used a lot. Yeah. At some point.
well, all of that said. Anything else about Brave New World?
Brave New World.
I recommend you see it in the theater. Go see it in the theater.
Yes.
Maybe doing a matinee. You don't need to spend all the money.
I mean, yeah. Is this a good... Did it fit well into the MCU? Did it feel like it was out of place?
To me, it felt like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in which it was trying to be a bridge point to the rest of the MCU.
I feel like this is what Falcon and the Winter Soldier should have been. Like, this should have been a television show. And this should have been the storyline of that television show.
Oh.
I feel like
That
it would
might
have been better. Yeah. Would have had more time to breathe. Would was
Yeah.
one of my biggest pain points is that everything just felt so rushed.
That definitely sounds like a Josh pinpoint.
We didn't really do a how we would fix it in this episode. But
Yeah.
I think that's how I'd fix it. Television. 6
let's see.
episodes.
I think maybe that was the point, was that this wasn't supposed to be a typical Marvel movies because they didn't do the credits, the intro at the beginning. Maybe that was a deliberate thing. Like, this is not your typical Marvel thing. I don't know. It's still a choice.
there might
That
be
was a choice.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
why would you not? Why would you do this? So what are they trying to convey?
Well, no, I have to wonder if it's if I guess Thunderbolts comes out next and then follows shortly after by Fantastic Four. I'm curious if they'll have the intro. If they do, then why would this one not?
Right.
Maybe they're just getting rid of it entirely, but I don't know.
I really hope they don't. That's like one of the. It's like a style thing. It's a like, this is part of a collection. This is
And
part
also,
of a
it kind
thing.
of like builds you up.
I mean, they also have enough VFX to do. After every movie comes out, they have to add a new scene to a litter.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't do that anymore.
Like that one file has so many layers. Now. Like,
It's so many.
Oh.
Well, and on that note, anything else? I think we can wrap this one up.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's
Going
pretty much it.
Okay.
All right.
Again, if you haven't seen our non-spoiler, go check it out.
Yeah.
We talked more about why we rated it, what we rated, and why we put it on the tier that we put it on. And and again, non-spoilers. But if you've made it this far,
You've been
you've been
spoiled.
spoiled. So
Yeah.
American spoilers.
You really hung in there with us. So yeah, if you have seen this movie and you have some thoughts about some of the stuff that happened in that movie, Brave New World, leave it in the comments. And this will be all spoilers, so don't be scared to leave some spoilers in the comments.
Yeah.
But also, please hop on over to our other video, the review video. Leave some likes on there if you have not already. If you have not, subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@eatsleepnerd. Click the little subscribe button on there. And you can also listen to our show over on podcast. So if you want to listen on the go, maybe on your car drive on the way to work in the morning, or while you're jogging, I hear we make for good listening while you're exercising. No?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, don't worry about
Your
it.
phone?
Nope.
Yeah.
All right,
Nope.
cool.
Nope.
All right, well,
Cheers.
thank you for tuning in. And until next time, eat, sleep, nerd. Take it easy, people.